righty, well, we'll get started. We might have some people trickling in as we get started, but welcome to our Grow with GoGo functional fitness class. So before we get moving, just a reminder of what GoGo provides. So in addition to these classes that we have weekly, you can access rides, meals, grocery delivery, medication delivery, and home services. And you get access to all of this just by calling that one phone number. And that phone number is 855-464-6872. And that spells 855 GoGo USA. And so use that number for all of those other services. Also, a reminder, we have a Facebook group. So if you ever feel like continuing these conversations on after class, you can go to our Facebook group and meet other GoGo members, share whatever you'd like, photos, exciting life events. It's just a nice way to stay connected. And then now to the meat of the course. So today is functional fitness. We alternate between yoga and functional fitness on Wednesdays. All you need is a chair or something to hold on to. So functional fitness is mostly standing. Our yoga class is mostly seated, but we do sometimes use our chair. So it's nice to have a chair or something that you can hold on to for balance. I also have a set of light weights. If you don't have light dumbbells, you can grab cans or water bottles or nothing at all. It's okay to do these movements in the air without the weight. The weight just adds a little extra challenge. So lightweight if you have them, water bottles, cans, or nothing at all. And then does anybody remember what the move of the week was? So if you're new, every session I give you a move that I want you to practice over the next several weeks before our next session. So does anyone remember what the move of the week was for functional fitness, not the yoga move? You can unmute yourself or put it in the chat.
Adria?
Yes.
Do you need an answer?
I do.
Sitting and standing.
That is correct. That is our functional fitness move, sitting and standing. Thanks, Bertha.
Welcome.
And I saw somebody else doing the move for yoga. So I saw some shoulder rolls. That's the yoga. So that's next week. So hold on to that. Don't forget it. It's hard to remember for 2 weeks. Great. Well, our move was sit to stand, getting in and out of a chair, just thinking about the different ways we can do that. And I'll give you a new move at the end of our class. And with that, let's get going. So I should be your main screen. And if I'm not, you can go to the top right-hand corner of your computer. And there's this button that says view, and you can pick speaker mode. Or if you want to see everybody else, you can pick gallery mode. And then you can see all of the other GoGo members moving. All right. So we'll start standing. Just move my chair out of the way. Start standing, planting those feet. And let's just do a few shoulder rolls back. No rush if you're still getting settled. And a few shoulder rolls forward. And then let the shoulders relax. We're going to bend the knees just a couple of inches as your shoulders reach up towards your ears. And then straighten the legs as your shoulders drop down the back. Let's add some breathing. We inhale, lift the shoulders, knees bend. Exhale, straighten the legs, shoulders drop. Inhale, bend, shoulders lift. Exhale, straighten, shoulders drop. Keep going at your own pace. So don't worry about my speed. Follow your own pace. Great. And the next time your legs are straight and your shoulders are down, we'll go ahead and pause. Let's inhale, open up the arms and lift the chest, stretch the front of the body. So I'm creating a little back bend here. So stretching the front of the body. And then exhale, round your back, give yourself a hug, stretch the back of your body. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round. Keep going, follow your breath. All right, coming back to center, release the arms, straighten out the spine. Now let's do a little side bending. So just bending side to side, noticing how far you go. You can stay here with your arms down alongside the body, or you can add on by reaching an arm up and overhead as you stretch, just to increase the stretch. If that's too much, arms stay down. And then make your way back to center. Let's find cactus arms. So elbows are bent 90 degrees. Soften your knees and try and keep your lower body stable as you twist your upper body. So rotating the spine, finding some motion there. All right, and then releasing the arms. All right, we're gonna grab our weights. You don't have to have weights for this, but grabbing them if you have them or if you want to use them. We'll take our feet a little wider than the shoulders. Toes can point slightly out. We're gonna start with some squats. So hands come in front of the chest, holding those weights. We bend those knees, hips go back, and then come up. I'll show you just a different angle. So spine stays long, our torso stays really upright. Keep going. If you'd like, you can add some breathing to this. So we inhale on the way down, we exhale as we rise. You decide how low you go. You can keep this small, or you can make it deep, right? They can be small knee bends, and that's totally fine. Couple more times. All right, next time you're standing, we'll go ahead and pause, shake out the legs, lower the arms. Okay, we're going into a 2-movement arm exercise here. So maybe you use the weights, maybe you don't. We start with a bicep curl. It's a hammer curl. So that means the hands are staying facing towards each other. So we're not flipping the palms forward. They're going to face each other. So we bend those elbows, bicep curl, and then straighten the arms up towards the ceiling. Bend the elbows, lower the arms. We bend the elbows, hands to the shoulders, punch up to the ceiling. Bend those elbows once again and lower the arms. Keep going. So it's 2 moves. It's a bicep curl and a shoulder press. Couple more times. Okay, and we're gonna put those weights down briefly, so just for a few moments. Put the weights down. Shake out those arms. We'll interlace the fingers behind the back. And then squeeze those shoulder blades together and then reach those knuckles away from your spine. Just giving you a little stretch. And release. Okay, so we're going to combine the upper body with the lower body. Those two exercises we just did. We're going to take those feet wide once again, about as wide as the shoulders or a little wider. Toes can point slightly out. We'll bend those knees with the arms down. Then we bend the elbows, and as we straighten the legs, arms punch up towards the ceiling. Then as we bend the knees, the elbows bend, lowering by your side, hands towards the ground. So we straighten the legs, bend the elbows, and punch to the ceiling. As we bend the knees, the arms lower back down. Keep going. If you want to add your breath to this movement, once you feel like you can coordinate the movement, we inhale on the way down and we exhale as we rise. If you need a break, you can always take a break. You can also always put your weights down. This is a ton of work without the weights. Few more times. Okay, and then let's let that go, shake it off. We're going into some leg work. We don't need the weights for this. You do want to have something to hold on to. I'm going to use the back of my chair. You could also use a wall or a table. We're going to place ourselves sideways next to the chair. So my left hand is on the chair. You could have your left hand on the chair, your left hand on the wall, left hand on the table. So just something to hold on to with your left hand. Step the right foot forward and your left foot back. Your feet are about 2 to 3 feet apart. All 10 toes are facing forward. Your back heel is off of the ground. We're going to go into some lunges. So we're going to bend both knees, lowering your body towards the earth. You decide how low you go. It doesn't need to be big. And then push down into that right foot, that front foot, to rise back up. So we bend the knees and we lift. Keep going. If this feels easy and you have the balance, you can always let go. You don't have to keep holding on to your support with that left hand, but just know that the support is there if you start to feel wobbly. And again, it's up to you how low you go. It doesn't need to be big. Be kind to your body, kind to your joints. Next time your legs are straight, we'll pause. Hold on to your chair if you let go. Step forward, and then we'll find the other side. So turning yourself around if that's comfortable for you. Now the right hand is holding on to the chair or the wall. Left foot steps forward, right foot steps back. Feet are 2 to 3 feet apart. All 10 toes are facing forward in the same direction. Back heel is off the ground, so right heel is lifted. Your torso stays upright. We're bending both knees, lowering down towards the earth. It's up to you how low you go. and then straightening both legs. Let's breathe here. Inhale on the way down. Exhale as you rise. Keep going. Feel free to continue to hold on to the chair, or if you like, you can let go of the chair if you have the balance. Bend the knees, bring the hips back. So we're leaning forward with the torso and bending the knees slightly. From here, we have our weights, or maybe you don't, that's fine. We bend the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Then we straighten both arms back behind us. Pinkies reach towards the ceiling. Then we rebend the elbows and lower the arms. All right, once again, bend the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades together, elbows towards the ceiling, then straighten the arms, pinkies towards the ceiling. Then bend the elbows, lower the arms. Keep going. At your own pace. If this feels really tiring, you can alternate arms. So you could do one arm and then the other. You might find that your core is having to work, your legs are having to work to maintain this position. So it's not just the arms working, but it's that whole body working to support you as you move your arms. A couple more times. Okay, and then let that go. Shake it off. We're going to repeat the lunges. If you didn't have any issues with balance, you might choose to hold your weights for the lunges. If the lunges were feeling tricky, go ahead and find that chair again. Place your left hand on the chair. So we have the right foot forward, left foot back. Feet are 2 to 3 feet apart. Maybe your left hand is holding your chair or wall. Maybe you're holding your weights. It doesn't matter. Find what works for you. We bend both of our knees, lowering the body. Doesn't matter how low you go. It can be a small bend, it can be a big bend. And then we straighten the legs. Inhale as you lower down. Exhale as you rise. Keep going. Next time your legs are straight, you'll pause and we'll step forward. If you're using the chair, you'll turn around so that you can have your other hand on the chair. Right hand on the chair or hold your weights. Left foot forward, right leg back. All 10 toes face forward. Back heel is off of the ground. We bend both knees, lowering towards the earth, and then we straighten both legs. Keep going. All right, next time the legs are straight, we'll step forward, back that meets the front. Shake it off. Okay, so we're going back to the upper body, those rows with the tricep extensions. So once again, we're bending the knees, torso is coming forward. That just increases the challenge. If your body's really upright, it's going to be hard to get work in the arms and in the back. So as you lean forward now, we're working against gravity, or gravity is helping us work. Knees are bent, hips are back, torso comes forward, arms down. We bend the elbows, squeezing the shoulder blades together so the elbows reach up towards the ceiling. Then we straighten the arms back behind us, keeping those elbows high, pinkies reach to the sky. Then bend the elbows and then lower the arms towards the earth. Bend the elbows, squeeze those shoulder blades, then straighten the arms behind you, rebend and lower. Keep going. Couple more times. And then release, shake it off. And then let's keep holding onto those weights if that's okay on the body. If it's too much, we'll get rid of the weights. You'll take your feet wide now, wider than before. Toes are pointing out, heels are in. So instead of those toes pointing forward, we're turning those legs out. And that rotation is happening not just at the feet, but it's actually at the hip socket. So it's that thigh bone moving in the hip socket to turn those legs out. If you'd like, hands are by the chest. These are sumo squats. We bend those knees so it's much wider. And then we straighten. We bend and straighten.
Most cases, because the one that I could explain was like one of only like there's very few that are maximum that use like one of
And then next time the legs are straight, we'll pull those legs back together. Okay, we're going into a different version of bicep curls. So earlier we were doing hammer curls where, it's as if you're using a hammer, so the palms face each other. This time, palms face forward, and we're even going to turn out slightly if that's possible. So instead of just being straight forward, you're going to turn just a little bit out, and then do some curls here. It's almost like you're going through a W shape as you go. If it's too much to turn out, you can go straight ahead. That's fine. Okay, take a little break. And now we're going to combine that bicep curl with our sumo squat. Legs are going wide. So once again, legs are wide, wider than the shoulders. Toes are pointing out away from the body. Arms are long. And then again, if it's possible, you're going to turn those palms to face out a little bit. Here, we're gonna do all the bending and all the straightening at the same time. So elbows and knees are gonna move together. We bend the knees and the elbows, creating that curl. So our joints are bent, elbows and knees, and then we straighten the legs and lower the arms. Keep going. You choose what you want to do with your breath. Just make sure you're not holding your breath here. Couple more. And then release, shake it off, take a little break. I'm gonna put those weights down. I'm gonna move into some standing core work. This core work requires some balance. So if you find that it gets challenging, just make sure that you're near a wall or a chair or something that you can always grab onto. And just know that you can take breaks as needed. So first, we're gonna start with just some marching. So some simple marching. Watch that here as you're marching. You're not rounding the back too much. And sort of finding movement at the hip joint. We're going to add some twisting with this march. So as the right knee lifts, we twist to the right. As the left knee lifts, we twist to the left. And again, if you need to grab onto something, please do. It's fine to have something maybe on either side. It's also okay to lose your balance as long as you're safe, right? We don't want to fall. Now we're going to bring the opposite hand to the knee and back down. Opposite hand to knee as you rotate and down. So I'm bringing my hand outside the knee. You go wherever you can. So as the left knee lifts, the right hand finds the outside of the knee. And as the right knee lifts, the left hand finds the outside of the knee. If this all feels okay, we're adding on. Right, so you can stop at any point. Hands go behind the head for the add-on. Now you're going to find a little rounding of the back. You're going to lift the knee, bring the elbow towards the knee. They're not going to touch, but they're moving towards each other. Back down. Lift the other knee, opposite elbow towards the knee. They're not touching, but they're moving towards each other. And back. If this feels like too much, go back to one of the other variations. So we're marching and adding a twist. Maybe you have the hands down. Maybe the hands are holding on to something. Maybe your hands are behind the head. Just a few more. All right, and let that go. Shake it off. And do that same stretch we did earlier. Interlace those fingers behind the back. Squeeze those shoulder blades together and reach those knuckles away from you. And release, shake it off. Okay, we're going into some deadlifting here. I'm gonna grab my weights. You're welcome to grab yours as well. So we've gone into this position when we were doing our shoulder rows, but now we're going to really emphasize these movements. So holding those weights or not, you might imagine you're carrying some really heavy groceries. And this is the best way to put those groceries down, those very heavy groceries. You bend the knees, the hips go back, and your torso comes forward. See how my spine does not change shape. The spine stays the same the whole time. Get as low to the ground as you can. So knees are bent. There's a bend at the hips and come up. I'm going to show you what not to do. So we are not doing this. It's not a big rounding of the back to reach the earth, right? The spine is long. Okay, so once again, all 10 toes face forward. Feet are maybe shoulder width apart. We bend the knees, hips go back, arms reach towards the earth. You decide how low you can go without bending the spine, and then rise. So keep going here, watching the spine. So that's what's important here, is that we keep the spine still. We want to use the really big joints in the body. So here the hips and the knees and the ankles are moving, but the spine is full of lots of teeny tiny joints that are delicate, and it's okay to move them. But when things get heavy, we want to try and keep those delicate joints stable. So usually we do deadlifts with much heavier weight, but it's nice to practice the form with lighter weight so that you can feel, okay, how can I keep my spine still and steady as I bend my knees, as my hips go back? Couple more times. Great, and coming up. Let's put those weights to the side. Now we're going into one leg deadlift variation. So it's not exactly the same, but it's very similar, but we do it on one leg. Let's bring the left hand to our chair. The right foot's going to do the work. The left foot goes behind us, and you can even bend the knee, lifting that left foot off the ground. If it's too hard to do this with the foot off the ground, just bring the toes back down, totally fine. We're bending that right knee and hinging forward at the hips. So it's sort of in that similar position. We bend the right knee even more, and then we straighten to rise. So it's the same movement, except for now just one foot is off the ground, and we're holding on to the chair for extra balance. So we bend the right knee, hinge forward at the hips, spine does not change shape as you reach towards the earth, and then you rise. We're just not using the weight because this is tricky. It's a lot of work. It's too hard to one leg, even with holding on. Go back to two legs. Really work on that form. Bending the hips, the spine is long. Okay, coming up, shake it off, turn around. We'll find the other side. So now my right hand is on the chair, right hand on the wall. Left foot's gonna do the work. I'm on a creaky spot, I'm gonna switch. Left foot stands, right foot goes behind us. The right toes can be touching the ground or can be off the ground. The work is in the left leg now. We bend the left knee and hinge forward at the hip. So it's the same exact thing as we were doing on two legs, except for now we're on one leg. And then rise. We bend the left knee, hips go back, torso comes forward, and up. So the hips going back is counterbalancing your torso coming forward. We keep bending and straightening that left leg. Keep going. All right, and coming up, shake it off. And then let's come down to our seat. So finding your chair. Come sit at the front edge of the chair. So instead of being all the way back, scoot yourself forward. We're going to stretch that right leg forward in front of us. And then we're going to do leg lifts with that right leg. This is going to be a lot of hard work. So right leg is straight, left knee is bent. Our spine stays still. We try and lift that right leg up and then lower it back down. See if you can lift using the leg, not your spine. So the spine does not change shape. If this feels easy, check yourself, make sure your spine isn't moving. You can use your hands on your body to watch. Is your torso moving as you lift the leg? How high can you lift? Okay, take a break. Let's switch legs. So rebend that right knee, left leg goes long. So the left leg is straight, the torso is upright. It's still. It's just that left leg, that straight leg moving up and down. Watch that you don't start to lean back either as you lift the leg. Because if you're leaning back when you're lifting the leg, you're not using your leg muscles. You want to work the hip flexors here and the quad muscles. So torso stays completely still as you lift and lower the leg. And release, relax. Ooh, take a little moment. One more on each side with a slight variation, or one more set on each side. So right leg straightens in front of us. Now you're going to turn those right toes to point out. Just like in the sumo squat, the rotation's not actually happening at the foot, it's happening at the hip joint. And so it's your thigh bone moving in the hip socket. So instead of your toes facing straight forward, they're going to turn to face out. So sitting tall, toes turn out. Torso stays still. Feel free to hold on to watch to make sure there's nothing moving except for the leg. Your pelvis isn't moving either. It's just that leg. The toes pointed out, it's just going to activate the leg a little differently. All right, and release. Rebend the knee. Whew. Other side, I find these challenging. You'll have to let me know at the end if you found those challenging as well. Left leg goes long. Left toes turn to face out. So again, they're not facing forward now. They're turning outward or away from the body. Sitting tall. Torso tries not to move. Pelvis tries not to move as we lift and lower the left leg. Noticing, okay, when does the spine move? Can you make the movement smaller than in your leg? Going to the point where you can move without moving other things, where you can move that left leg without moving your spine or your pelvis. So it's really nice that our body moves together. As we move one thing, something else wants to move. But it's also good to know how to isolate different parts of the body. And release, bend, shake it off. Let's do a stretch here. Let's go into a figure 4 stretch. So we'll cross one ankle over your thigh. If crossing the ankles isn't, or the ankle over the thigh doesn't work, you can also cross your legs or cross your ankles. So just go where you can. You can sit tall or you can lean forward. Leaning forward is going to increase the stretch in that hip and gluteal area. Some people also feel stretch in the inner leg, and that's fine as well. Go ahead and come on up and we'll switch legs. So cross your other ankle over the thigh. Again, if crossing the ankle over the thigh is not possible, we can cross the legs or cross the ankles. So any of those options are fine. Sit nice and tall, or feel free to lean forward. And then come on up. Release, shake it off, and we'll come to stand. So I'm going to give you the move of the week, and we're going to just practice the move of the week. The move of the week is our deadlifts, but I want you to practice it in context of your life. You sometimes have to pick things up off of the ground or put things on the ground. So I want you to be mindful about how you do that. So back to what our deadlift is. The deadlift is when we bend those knees and the hips go back and we keep our spine still as we pick something up off of the ground. So I want you to think about that form when you're lifting things off of the ground or when you're putting things down. So this is the form we want. Nice long spine, knees bend, hips bend. If that's too much, then maybe thinking about putting things down a little bit higher. You can still have that nice form of bending the knees and the hips by putting something down on a higher surface or picking something up off of a higher surface. So just noticing that. Maybe it's even like when you grab your shoes. If you're grabbing your shoes, watching, are you rounding your back to pick up those shoes? Can you bend the knees, bend at the hips to pick things up? So that's our move of the week. It's deadlifting. But I want you to think about deadlifting in the context of your life. All right. Let's stand nice and tall now. Now you know the move of the week. Let's inhale, circle those arms out to the side and up towards the sky. Palms touch hands to the heart. We're going to do that one more time. We inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, hands touch. Palms towards the heart. Give yourself a round of applause. Awesome work, everyone. So great to have you here as a group, part of our GoGo family. We have a couple of minutes now, so if you have any questions for me or comments, you can either unmute yourself or put it in the chat. Also, if you want to see everybody else and are tired of seeing my face only, you can go to the top right-hand screen, top right-hand corner of your screen, and you can find gallery view. There's a little icon that says view. You can click on it, and then you have options. You have speaker or gallery, and then gallery view allows you to see everybody. I'm also, while you're thinking of any questions or things you want to say, I'm going to go to my trusty notepad. We did our sit to stand. I'm going to write down the deadlift so I don't forget as our move of the week. Recommend you write it down too if you have a bad memory like me. Totally fine for you not to have questions and want to just pop off. You can do that. If you do have questions, though, now's your chance. We have about 5 minutes.
And how often do you think we should do these exercises?
On your own?
Yeah.
I think it's great if you remember the exercises, doing them 3 times a week or 2 times in addition to this session. So you have me once a week and you could do it twice a week on your own.
Okay.
And as you may know, and we have the YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel so you can find past videos. So if you
Okay.
wanted, you could go to old classes, whether it's functional fitness or yoga, and do that on the other days. So maybe you do Monday, Friday on your own and Wednesday with me.
Okay, good.
All right. Well, sounds like we don't have any questions, which is totally fine. Oh, here we go. Mary wrote something. It was a little challenging. Yeah. And you know, if it's challenging, you can always take breaks or get rid of the weight. Also, maybe noticing what other factors might make it challenging. It was challenging for me today too, but I think it's hot today in San Francisco, which is rare. So I'm glad you pushed through the challenge though. You can definitely log off. I'll stay here for another 2 minutes in case there's anything you want to ask. All right, I guess there are no questions. So I will see you next week. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Great to have you here. Enjoy those deadlifts.